Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
In regards to Democratic Representative Adam Schiff, it has been said he has a photographic memory, but it's never been developed. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America. Good morning. I need a patriot to call in and get us started with the Pledge of Allegiance. Boy, have I got a cold. You'll make me feel better. Thank you. And a good morning to you and yours as we are just creeping up on Thanksgiving, day after tomorrow. And good morning to everybody. I'm Zeb Bell, Zeb at the Ranch, with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with absolutely the best in wintertime driving tires. Stop in and see them today. And also, don't forget Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. And Greystone Crossing Independent Senior Living at 1221 21st Street in Hayburn. Seniors living the good life with friends. Right now, let's go to the phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
My friend.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Doug. Always appreciate you. Glad to hear from you, too, by the way. And I know you're going to call back in later, and I'll catch more of the information I need from you. Thank you. And right now it's time for the weather, brought to you by K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn on the Burley-Paul Highway. You cannot miss them. What a front yard. Chock full of equipment, all the equipment you need. They've got the best of tools and equipment for any project. Please get a hold of them today, both long and short-term rental. And if you got questions about what you need, Roger and the crew can help you. Give them a call, 678-3122. And, of course, that's K&R Rental. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Few rays of sun for today, but snow is the theme of the week. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We are expecting partly sunny skies, at least for today. A little bit of a breeze, winds out of the west at about 10 miles an hour. Could have gusts as high as 22 miles an hour. We are expecting a high of 32. Tonight, snow showers more than likely after midnight. New snow accumulations of less than 1 inch possible, but it could be blowing out there as gusts as high as 25 miles an hour. We are expecting a low of 27. For tomorrow, snow likely mostly in the morning hours. Clouds are going to stick around. We are expecting a high of 36. New snow accumulations less than a half an inch possible. It is going to be breezy out there as well, and we are expecting a high of 36. For Wednesday night, 30% chance of snow showers after midnight, mostly cloudy skies with a low of 20. Then for Thanksgiving Day, looks like we have a chance of rain and or snow showers, expecting a high of 33. New snow accumulations of less than a half of an inch possible. That's a look at your weather forecast for
Zeb. Gina, she does a fantastic job with our weather forecast. Appreciate it. And it's brought to you by Roger and the crew over at K&R Rental, 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn. As I said, they're right there on the Burley-Paul Highway. For questions about the tools you need, 678-3122. All the equipment, all the tools at K&R Rental. Caller, stay with me a minute. I've got to pay some bills. I want to remind everybody the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley, with Merv May, Cade Rogge, and Lance Udy. Wish you and your family a very happy Thanksgiving. There will not be a sale this week on Thursday. No sale this Thursday, being Thanksgiving, but it's the sale that works for you. Don't forget, Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley, wishing you a very happy Thanksgiving. Also, our dear friends over at Daryl's Cleaners, Kevin and Cindy and the whole crew, my goodness sakes. Maybe there's a bunch of clothes you need to get spruced up for the fall. Jackets, sports jackets, maybe suits, ladies' dresses, whatever. Well, you'd better get in there at Daryl's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. And believe me, they are the best at what they do. We've been taking our clothes in there for, my goodness, I think over 16, 17 years. And they are so professional. Please remember Daryl's Cleaners at 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zed. Can you hop like a frog? Because
Nope.
You sure sound like one.
I don't want to.
And you're not smiling either, are you?
You know, I got to tell you that I guess I'm just a great big old geezer that hates to get sick. I'm not used to getting sick because I've been blessed. Very seldom ever get a cold. But this one started a couple days ago, and so far we're going into the 8th round, and it's knocked me down 3 times.
Well, I sure hope you get better. But the message I have today is I say kudos to the various highway districts we have in Magic Valley. They do such a wonderful job of keeping our roads clear on a day like today. Remember, they have to get up in the middle of the night to be prepared for this.
That's right.
And the supervisors, well, they don't get any sleep because they're out all hours of the day and night checking these roads for our safety.
I agree.
I think this is really wonderful, and if you know one of these folks who work up there, you might shake their hand and thank them for their service.
All right, Keith, I appreciate that. And that's a good attitude, too. They are some really dedicated, service-oriented people. Keith, God bless you and Nancy. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I'm sure you'll call back in a little bit later. Thank you. Right now, I want to remind everybody about Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. I said the other day, and, you know, they're creeping up on 70 years. 70 years of service to you, almost 7 decades with all your heating, cooling, and electrical needs. All you need to do is stop in at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley or give them a call at 678-0459. They're open at 7:30 in the morning to 5 on Monday through Friday, and it's really the truth. They do provide all your heating, cooling, and electrical needs at Ramsey Heating and Electric. Caller, stand by. I'll be right there. Also want to remind you, this time of the year, and you heard the forecast with Gina, it's going to get a little chilly. No, it's going to get doggone cold, and things are going to be freezing out there. I urge you to make sure that you've got adequate water supplies for your livestock, your pets, etc. Make sure they've got all their vaccinations. Make sure your dogs and kitty cats have a little protection to get into. And if you have a problem with your livestock or your pets, don't forget Ark Animal Hospital is always there to serve them at 750 21st Street near Connection Credit Union in Hayburn. They always, with Dr. Bill and the crew, have warm hearts for cold noses. Number to call, 678-1177. That number again, 678-1177. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning from Burley Senior Center. Today for lunch we're having cabbage roll, homemade cabbage roll, and all the vegetables, fruit, salad to go with it, and of course some yummy dessert. I don't know what it is, but it'll guarantee it'll be good. Also on be there and enjoy a Thanksgiving dinner.
All right, Joe, I got to ask you, the burning question of the morning is, are you a big fan of pumpkin pie or pecan pie for Thanksgiving?
I'll take pecan.
You and me both. All right, Joe. God bless you, man. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Bye.
All right. The Senior Center right there on Overland in Burley. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Before I get into my first story, I want to also remind you about our friends at Dino Septic Service. You know, a lot of people are saying, Dino Septic Service, what's that? Well, I'll tell you what it is, and you better write the number down, because when you least expect it, bang, something's going to go wrong with your septic tank and it needs pumping, or you have sewer and sink drain lines cleaned. They can do it. Backhoe service, septic tanks and drain fields installed. They are the people that do the job that you and I don't want to do. Absolutely. You get a hold of them today. Dino Septic Service, and of course, fast, fair, friendly service, 436-6526 or 678-1638. Dino Septic Service, and they are wishing you and yours a very, very happy Thanksgiving. And I'll tell you what, they are the best at what they do. I know somebody else that's the best at what they do, and that's Rick. Old Rick over there at Mountain Transmissions, 504 East Main Street, across from Stokes Food Center in Burley. Free estimates and free diagnosis on your transmission. I mean, when you're going and driving, you're backing up, you got a problem. Hey, you better get a hold of the man that knows. Rick at Mountain Transmissions, 678-9110, wishing you and yours a very, very happy Thanksgiving. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Oh, no one's called in yet.
Oh, I thought you mooed the cow at me, my friend. I apologize. Hey, can you do me a favor, Wheels?
Of course, sir.
Switch throats with me.
You know, I really would.
Okay, thank you. Now the media is telling us, yeah, you and me, we the people that support President Donald Trump, that we are part of a dangerous cult. Oh yeah, we're to be watched. We are to be monitored. We are to be observed. We are to be reckoned with, because we now, those of us who support Donald Trump for re-election, we're worse than deplorables. We are a cult. I didn't realize that. I honestly didn't realize that we were part of a cult. All the left-wing media came out yesterday, CNN, MSNBC, and all the little lowlifes that hurry and scurry across the floor in the dark. And they started calling all the Trump supporters a cult. And here we are, and many of them treat us that are in support of Donald Trump's re-election like we're all snaggle-toothed, hair standing up, and dirty hands people. And according to many, we're just dumb and easily led. How does that make you feel? Well, okay, I can take that. I'm not dumb, and I'm certainly not easily led, because when I look at the stock market and all the good things that have come since President Trump has been elected as our president, they are having record highs. Now think about this. If you are a dumb, snaggletooth, cultish member like I am, pushing for Trump's re-election, think about this. Since Donald Trump has been elected as President of the United States, the stock market has gone up, up, and away, like the Third Generation song, way back in the 70s. Up, up, and away. Well, I'll tell you what, since he's been elected as president, the market, and I checked this out to verify it this morning, has moved up in volume over $11.3 trillion. I did not state that wrong. Over $11.3 trillion. And the market saw, again yesterday, record highs. Our economy is booming. Everything is going very well. And the elitists with their little pinky finger up in the air that are so snobby and their nose tipped up into the air so that if it rains they may drown, they're telling us that we are members of a cult. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Thank God I'm a member of a cult. You know, if I had to be part of the attitude of the Democratic Party, I would rather not be anywhere. I think they are downright dishonest, corrupt, horrible, crooked people. I don't have any use for their beliefs, their policies at all. I believe in my country, I love my country, and I'll support my country in any way that it does better. All they want to do is tear it down, destroy it, ruin it, and it's just a bad attitude to me. I don't want it.
There you go. Jerry, I absolutely, along with you, we are blessed to live in the greatest country ever on the face of the earth. And to again go back to Merle Haggard's song back into the 70s, if you don't love it, leave it. In other words, get out of Dodge City.
Well, you know, Trump has done some wonderful things. He's turned this war thing around to where we're supporting our soldiers, we're supporting our vets, and we're supporting our country. We're back to supporting education, not trying to destroy it.
Amen.
We're back to putting our history first, not last. We're not changing anything to meet somebody's quota.
There you go.
You know, it's been a horrible, 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 horrible disgrace what the government's done over the last 8 years with Obama and the people we've had in office before.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a wonderful thing to have a good president that loves this country and is looking out to do better for everybody, not just themselves and their crooked, dishonest friends. And I'll get off the air. You have a wonderful day. May the Lord bless you and your whole audience.
God bless you and happy Thanksgiving. Thank you, Jerry. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I want to remind everybody about Denny's Restaurant. Oh, now put this on your calendar because we're going to be talking about this a lot in the next couple of weeks. On December the 19th, have you got a pen? Okay, December the 19th, we are going to have the world famous, and I think this is the 5th annual coming up this year, Denny's Christmas Party at 611 North Overland in Burley. We're going to have Santa Claus there, and we're going to have singers. Oh, my goodness, put that on your calendar. I'm going to be broadcasting my entire show over there that morning on the 19th at Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner, 611 North Overland in Burley for the best of breakfast, lunch, dinner, anytime, all the time, every time you stop in and enjoy Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zip. I've got a short statement my old granddaddy used to say back in the South when things went wrong. I believe shit has hit the fan. What do you think?
Would you please tell me that you said Adam like in Schiff and not the other, because don't make me nervous.
I did.
Okay.
As in shift has hit the fan.
Yeah, I got to tell you, you brought out great big beads of perspiration on my forehead, and don't do that to an old man like me.
Well, I think it has, but if something went wrong, usually my old granddaddy would say the ship has hit the fan.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's going to get worse, and somebody's going to be turning up the fan higher in speed, volume, and noise against the Democrats. When we get the Inspector General's report and the Durham report, we could be seeing a lot of the investigatory means and ways go right to the Obama White House, and a lot of fingers pointed at him, which I will revel in.
Yeah, well, a lot of the young folks won't understand that statement. But anyway, I've been around 83 years, and I see a lot of stuff. But that kind of reminded me of my old granddaddy. I used to walk behind him in a plow and a mule in the South, and things would go wrong, and that was his statement. And I think that's exactly what's
Well, I tell you what, I appreciate your talking about your granddaddy, but don't scare me like that.
Okay, thanks, then.
God bless you. Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you very much. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. I'm fed up with the lunacy. I'm fed up with the biased reporting. I'm fed up with the denigrating of our president. I'm fed up with lumping the entire president's family into a bag and beating it with a stick like the Democrats do. I'm fed up with the attitude of not respecting the presidency and what this president has done. The Democrats are sleaze. They're sleaze. And I hope a lot of them are going back home to see their constituents during the Thanksgiving break and are getting a what for. They deserve it. They deserve it. Happy Thanksgiving wishes go out from Senator Kelly Anthon. And I got to tell you that we are blessed in the state of Idaho to have the best of representation. Senator Kelly Anthon, District 27, says to everybody that voted for him and has voted for him in the past, a very happy Thanksgiving. He and his family want you to sit down and enjoy and be thankful for everything we have. And Representative Fred Wood, District 27 CB, what a nice man. Always there to serve, always there to help, and we can count on him. Representative Fred Wood says to you and your family, a very happy Thanksgiving. Last but not least, Representative and Speaker of the House, Scott Bedke, the John Wayne that comes on our program from District 27 Seat A, lives up at Oakley, and he's a cowboy rancher and doing a great job as Speaker of the House. Scott Bedke and his family wish you and yours a very happy Thanksgiving. Calls are welcome. And with my voice this morning, as raspy as it is, appreciated at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Let's see, what else have we got here? Oh, Bloomberg News. Now, this is absolutely repugnant in a free society. Bloomberg News, owned by little Mikey multi-billionaire Mike Bloomberg, that just threw his very expensive hat in the ring to run for the Democratic nod for the presidency. Oh, but he doesn't want to associate with the little people. No, he's going to ignore Iowa. He's going to ignore New Hampshire. He's just going to go for the big states, the power states. He doesn't care about the little people. Well, he's come out and stated, along with his spokesman for Bloomberg News, that Bloomberg News, will not investigate or do any exposés on other Democrats. Now, you say to yourself, well, what do you mean, won't do any investigating or exposés on Democrats? Well, they won't talk about Joe Biden and his son Hunter and the big money involvement. They won't talk about Elizabeth Warren lying about everything in her past. They won't talk about communistic, socialistic views of Bernie Sanders, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But at the same time, they will not investigate or do exposés on Democrats. They are going to go all the way up to the top of the shovel in trying to go after President Trump. That's as one-sided and biased, evil, and I underline this word, and I question whether it's even close, journalism. How in the world can they say, well, I'm going to leave these people alone? No, we're not going to do anything on them. Yeah, there's a lot of mud on Cory Booker, and yeah, there's a lot of mud on every one of the Democrats, but we're going to leave them alone, and we're just going to take all of our reporters, and we're going to go after Donald Trump. Oh, we got to stop him from being reelected. The question is this morning, when you watch the news, and hopefully a lot of you discern what's being said or what you read, and try to understand and comprehend really what's going on, not just being force-fed by what some liberal outlets want you to absorb, can they beat Donald Trump? They're doing everything in their power, And instead of 110, they've gone to 220. They're doing everything in their power to lie, cheat, and steal and hurt this president and any chances of re-election. My question to you is, can President Trump overcome all this and retain the presidency in 2020? I'll tell you, even some actors and actresses in Hollywood, of all places, they are starting to come out like John Voight. Remember him from Midnight Cowboy? And then when they did the second of Lonesome Dove, he played the captain and did a darn good job, too, by the way. Actor John Voight has called out the left loons in Hollywood and said, quite frankly and simply put, they are not well. And he's spoken out before against the liberal loons in Hollywood, and he's a man that you can respect, John Voight. Good actor, and quite frankly, a good conservative. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. If you'll call in, you'll be doing me a big favor. Why and how? Then I don't have to talk so much. Don't forget, on Monday, December 9th, at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 11 o'clock in the morning, a great big bred stock cow sale. Talked to Cade yesterday, as a matter of fact, Cade Rogge, and he said he's already consigned approximately 700 cows for this really, really quality bred stock cow sale. 450 of that 700 are really good, solid mouth cows. This is going to be a good quality cow sale, and they've got 50 head of bred Corianti cows, too. Ho, 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 ho. I'll tell you what, boys, you can start your own rope and string, and that will save a lot of money. You better get down there and check it out on December 9th, Monday, December 9th, at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 11 o'clock in the morning. Bred stock cow sale. Going to be really good. Call Cade Rogge at 431-0074. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
I've been out shoveling snow, so I don't know your subject. Could I just say whatever I want to?
Well, don't you always?
Well, that's a compliment.
Okay. Go ahead, Keith.
Okay, I'd like to, being an old sailor myself, I like to think about this Eddie Gallagher that's in the news and how they had taken a photo of him standing there over the dead body of another soldier. Let me say this. That guy that's laying there on the ground could have killed him 15 minutes earlier. Now, what in the world are we thinking of when we chastise a person that's over there putting their life on the line?
Well, I'll tell you what, my feelings are very simply put, and all these people that have these grandiose thoughts about we're elevated to a higher position, and they sit here in their comfy little offices wearing three-piece suits and wingtip shoes and have never probably been in the heat of battle, and how they can dare criticize and chastise and go after Eddie Gallagher and others. We are training these men and women in our services to be trained killers. I'm going to be the bottom line here. We're training them to be trained killers and fight for this country and fight for the people that what country they are in. I am sick and tired of holding our soldiers accountable when things sometimes get out of hand, and in the passion and the heat of the bullets flying, these people that sit in comfy offices, I don't care if it's the Secretary of the Navy, I don't care who it is, they shoot their big mouths off and they don't understand what's going on.
You know, they have lost track of the rules of engagement, which are so darn slanted. I remember during the Vietnam War, you had a road there, and on one side were the American soldiers, and on the other side was the Viet Cong. and you were not allowed to shoot across that road at them.
Yeah, my cousin.
They could shoot back at you.
My cousin is a classic example of a person that left a cute little American community and went over to Nam and spent 4 years and really came home messed up. And quite frankly, of the times that I've had a chance to visit with him and find out what it was like when he would talk about it, it was horrendous. Some of the rules and regulatory means and methods that they had to follow, and he said that his head was always on a swivel. I do not condemn anybody, for what happens in a war.
You know, it just tears my heart out to see how we send these people over there, and then we put all kinds of body armor on you and stuff like that, but they're not protecting us from the enemy.
Yeah.
Like the Vietnam War, that shouldn't have been named the Vietnam War. It should have been Johnson's War, because, by golly, he's the one that kept it going and going, because it was very good for his economy.
Well, I tell you what, don't get me started on some of this, because I know I'm going to start railing on a lot of topics. Keith, God bless you, man. I appreciate that. I got another call calling in. Thank you. Thank you.
Stay alive.
All right, buddy. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Don't forget, caller, I'll be right with you. Barry Equipment and Rental, and they've got 3 locations: 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin, and the Nampa location. And when you need equipment that can help you with all the lifting, the digging, the pushing, the carrying, the leveling, you better get a hold of Barry Equipment and Rental. They've got all the Doosan wheel loaders and the excavators, and they've got all the Bobcats, all the shapes and sizes. Oh, you don't know how to run them? They'll teach you. They got a big sandbox right out behind this business, and you'll go home an expert, absolutely. Barry Equipment and Rental, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin, and the Napa location, and they wish you and your family a very happy Thanksgiving. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Morning, Zeb. Both you and Keith, I got in the pickup and turned the radio on and talking about something that President Trump, when he exonerated a lot of these, pardoned a lot of these military prisoners for war crimes or whatever they want to call it, say they were, they're doing, like you said, exactly what they were trained to do. And I hate to say it, most people don't realize it. Civilization, a happy, peaceful civilization, is based on people who are willing to give their life and take others so their civilization can be peaceful. If I'm saying it clear enough, I don't know how else to say it. You got to have people to do the dirty work.
That's right.
And that is a dirty work. And the other part of it, these guys, they go over there, they don't know. They might have a 12-year-old shooting at them with an AK-47, or a woman dressed in a burqa throw a hand grenade in there, but they don't know. And all they're there to do is protect the innocent, protect themselves, and protect their men. And their men would protect them the same way. So to crucify them and throw them in court and throw them in prison, because you know what? It's that one guy or my 8. It's that one guy, he's going down. And that's pretty much what it turns into.
Hey, Riley, I'm just going to say this.
I really stand up for the president on this. Back him all the way to hell and back. I mean, he did the right thing.
Let me just say something to you. About 2 years ago on this program, we got into the same discussion, and I made the point that a lot of these people that said, oh, well, we don't want to turn into like what the terrorists are. We're above that. Well, let me tell you something, Riley, and give me a short answer on this, because I'm just about out of time. I said on that day, and I listened to the tape 2 or 3 times of the program afterwards, and I said that if a school here in the United States had been taken over by terrorists, and one of the terrorists was captured by some of the parents, and they had him sitting in a chair in their living room, don't you play goody two-shoes and tell me that you wouldn't go and get the information on where the other terrorists were by any methods, whether it's jerking out his fingernails or whatever it might be. This goody two-shoes attitude of saying, well, we wouldn't interrogate him that way, we just ask him questions, and if he wanted to answer, that's fine, if not, fine. Those little kids in that school are depending on on getting that information on the other terrorists so their lives can be saved. I hate the attitude of these stuffed suits that don't understand we need to protect ourselves first.
Well, I said it once, and I'll say it again. I resigned my life to my country and to my fellow citizens once before, and I wouldn't blink an eye doing it again.
There you go.
Now, that being said, that poor sucker in that living room had better have a high tolerance to pain, because I know a few things that would make him hurt.
Well, all I'm saying is that when
I need to know, and I'd get it right dang quick.
No, all I'm saying is it's ludicrous to sit there and say what you would do. You don't know unless your family's in danger. You don't know unless somebody's got a gun to your wife's head. You don't know. And the best thing to do is find out the information if it's available through a caught terrorist or whatever. Get the information. I'm not going to worry about whether I wrinkle his shirt. I'll tell you that. Riley, I got to run. Thank you so much.
Me too, bye.
All right. Don't forget Mad River Laser. They are going to have a huge, that means really big, Black Friday sale. Oh, my goodness. Their gift shop is going to feature markdowns on all your favorite items. When I talk about Mad River Laser, you know where they are. They're right on the square on Rupert at 502 East Street, and they've probably been voted the best unique gift shop for 3 years in a row. Wow, Nicole and the rest of the crew. Their design team is offering T-shirts, 2 for $25, hoodies, 2 for $50. They've got all kinds of fun things going on over there at a big Black Friday sale coming up on this Friday at Mad River Laser in Rupert. How about another call? Now, there again, Wheels. I think my stuffed up head, I'm hearing cows. Did you give me the signal that I had another call?
No, you're okay, sir.
Well, okay. I swear I heard that cow. So I'm sorry.
You're fine, and to be honest, I really feel for you. Going back to what you said before, I wish I could help out in some way.
Oh, it's just a cold. My poor wife has had it worse than I did. So anyway, thank you very much. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, sir.
My friend, do you agree with what I said or not? Or are you going to chew on my fingernails?
No, I agree. I agree with you 100% on that. And one thing I wanted to comment on was that comment you made this morning, your opening statement about Shift having a photographic memory. They haven't even put the film in the camera.
They don't know how to put the film in the camera. Honestly, I've never met the man, and I guess I really should apologize for having such animosity and pure bad thoughts against Adam Schiff. He just looks like the kind of a guy that you would just like to get in a fist fight with. I can't be any more coarse than that. I'm sorry, that's the way I feel.
Well, he reminds me of that character in the movie Shrek.
Oh, yeah.
Lord Farquaad, who had the big, tall castle, and he come riding in on that horse, and he looked like he was a big guy, and they took him off, and everything was fake from the saddle down.
Yeah, absolutely.
And look at him sitting in that Intelligence Committee. You can look at those chairs. All the chairs are set the same height except for his, and it's about 12 inches higher than everybody else.
Yeah, we talked about that, I think, while you were gone last week, and it was so obvious that the chair level was set to elevate little King Adam so that he looked and stood out as the prominent figure on the TV cameras. My German grandmother is turning over.
Yeah, but the funny thing is, with his chair elevated like it is, the top of his head is right with everybody else's.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was his PR person, I would have that chair down, but I'd have about a 12-inch cushion in the bottom of the chair, so when you got in it, but no.
No, I tell you something. Did you read, if you get a chance, in the Times News this morning, and they absolutely love to carry editorials from other newspapers that are very left like they are and ascribe to. Get a chance to read this op-ed that's in the paper this morning, sent by the St. Louis Post-Dispatch newspaper, and the headline is, GOP impeachment defense has been misleading, petty and shameless. Read that op-ed, call me, and tell me if you're not ready to dig your fingernails into the car paint on your pickup.
Oh, well, it's not worth having to repaint my pickup for the liberal ideas, because their ideas are ludicrous.
Yeah.
I mean, they have no comprehension of reality. And I'm like Donald Trump. I want to see them send this to the Senate, to where the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court is going to rule over this, and all these witnesses that have been called won't even be mentioned.
Yeah.
And Adam Schiff, the whistleblower, Adam Schiff's staff, and some other witnesses will be called that have facts.
You know, I'm going to say something right here because I got to do the weather forecast, but I want to say this, and you're going to look at me like, uh-oh, wacko time. The more this goes on, and the more we don't know about the whistleblower and the circumstances around a conversation and all the hearsay, I'm just going to say this. I'm not espousing that I believe in this theory, but it is feasible that there never was a whistleblower.
So you think Adam Schiff lied to us and made it all up?
Imagine that.
Well, no offense, Keith caught him, but Adam Schiff can be a great car salesman.
Oh, my. All right, with that, I'm going to run to the weather. Thank you very much.
Hey, everybody, let's do what we can for our senior centers. It's the holiday season. Let's support them. Go eat there. Book their facilities for a family party or a get-together this holiday season. God bless.
All right, my friend. Time for the weather forecast, and it's brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And believe me, they understand every aspect of hearing health. Please don't put it off. Give them a call. Make an appointment. They've got a new number, and it's 417-8799. That number again, 417-8799. Wonderful, very, very talented people that can help you with your hearing health. Right behind the Minidoka Hospital, across from the emergency room. Please get a hold of them today for an appointment. 417-8799. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Few rays of sun for today, but snow is the theme of the week. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We are expecting partly sunny skies, at least for today. A little bit of a breeze, winds out of the west at about 10 miles an hour. Could have gusts as high as 22 miles an hour. We are expecting a high of 32. Tonight, snow showers more than likely after midnight. New snow accumulations of less than 1 inch possible, but it could be blowing out there as gusts as high as 25 miles an hour. We are expecting a low of 27. For tomorrow, snow likely mostly in the morning hours. Clouds are going to stick around. We are expecting a high of 36. New snow accumulations less than a half an inch possible. This could be breezy out there as well, and we are expecting a high of 36. For Wednesday night, 30% chance of snow showers after midnight, mostly cloudy skies with a low of 20. Then for Thanksgiving Day, looks like we have a chance of rain and or snow showers, expecting a high of 33. New snow accumulations of less than a half an inch possible. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you very much, Gina, and I want to remind you that Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids wants to wish you and yours a very happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy your family. Enjoy your family time. Call them for a hearing screening appointment at 417-8799. Also, my golly, if I've had some of this product, maybe I wouldn't have this bad cold. I want to remind you that CBD American Shaman has the essential oils from plant therapy and blend single oils, roller balls, which make really great gifts for friends and family. And you can stay healthier through the cold and flu season. Now I get this on the air. I wish I'd have known about this a long time ago. They can help teach you the properties of the essential oils along with the benefits of CBDs. Please go see them today. CBD American Shaman at 1259 Overland Avenue in Burley. They're open Monday through Friday, 10 to 5. Stop in, tell them Zeb sent you, please. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. I just wanted to wish you and Deanne a very, very happy Thanksgiving. We are having ours Wednesday night. We have 30 coming for dinner. And when our children were little, we used to do Wednesday night, and then Thursday we'd take the leftovers and go snowmobiling. And over the years, it carried forward. And now that our children are married, they have Thursday that they can do with their other in-laws, and we do ours Wednesday night. And
you've got Nancy. You've got 30 people coming over to eat.
Right. Between children, spouses, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, yep, we've got 30.
Now, I certainly hope and pray that you have a lot of help in the preparation, because 30 people, holy moly, that's a lot of dishes.
Oh, yes, I have great daughter-in-law's daughter, granddaughters that are all helping. And then when it comes cleanup time, our sons and grandsons just step right in and get the dishes done. And, it is amazing to see the unity that takes place there.
Oh, my goodness. God bless you. You better write a book and tell others how you get the kids to do that. God bless you, and I hope you and yours have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Sam.
All right, take care. That is one of the nicest ladies you could ever want to meet. Talking about Thanksgiving dinner, you know what? I got to get this in. I'm just mad as can be over this. The vegans and the liberal left have kind of teamed up and telling us, we don't want you to have any turkey on Thanksgiving. We don't want you to have any ham during Christmas. We don't want you to eat any meat. Why? You are helping the effects of climate change. Oh, give me a break. Go sit down in the back row. Do not raise your hand to go to anywhere except the bathroom, and keep quiet. I'm so fed up with these people, and now they're pushing Tofurkey and alt meat brand. It's rubbery, that's what it is. It's nothing to do with meat. They call it Tofurkey, and they're saying, why, we are making so much we can't keep up with demands. If you have ever eaten or tasted it, you would wonder why anybody would be loony enough to want to eat it and or buy it. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Mr. Bell. According to your topic this morning, when we send our boys and girls, our men and women off to war, they've tied their hands for so many years. My cousin, like yours, spent 4 tours over in Vietnam. He was in the Air Force. And he said that things, they're not supposed to tell you of all the things that happened, but they'd go clear a spot out, and then they'd pull them back, and they'd re-infiltrate where they had just cleared. They couldn't shoot back when people were shooting with them. They couldn't, they called them baby killers and rapists and all this other crap. They didn't walk a mile in their dadgum shoes.
That's the whole point.
Anytime somebody disrespects a veteran in my presence, they're definitely going to get a what for in a bag of chips.
Donna, what you just said sums it all up. I mean, these young men and women put on the uniform. They're sent to all points of the compass to represent our country and also help others. And war is not a cap gun fight. It's not a bang, I got you type attitude. It's bang, I've got you and you're dead. And they need to protect themselves and also other people. And war, with the mechanization of how it works, it's hell. And sometimes things happen that are not according to the book.
No, it's not. And when they tied their hands and told them they had to call to get confirmation that they could shoot back, by that time it's already too late.
That's right.
And I've got to bless and thank all these young men and young women right out of high school going in knowing that this fight that we're in is one that is maiming and devastating.
Well, I'll say, let me share this with you real quick, Donna. I'm almost out of time. I pardon my rudeness for interrupting you. But I'm going to go back to what I said 2 years ago, and I mentioned it just a moment ago. If you had access to a captured terrorist and you were asking where they have put a bomb that's going to blow up a school or whatever, are you going to sit there? I know you won't. Are you going to sit there and tell me that you're going to just, we won't touch him, we won't do any torture, we won't force him to talk talk or anything. Baloney. I'm going to make that person talk with no means of restriction. Do you understand my drift?
Oh, you betcha. I'm right there behind you. Yeah, or beside you. Yeah, it's ridiculous what they're doing to our boys and girls over there.
Absolutely. I got to run. And by the way, happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Same to you.
All right.
Yeah, and you have a wonderful day, and I hope you feel better.
I do, too. Thanks, Donna. Don't forget our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations with all the tires you need to meet any winter driving right head on. Man, I'm telling you, the snow, the sludge, the ice, the muck, the yuck. They've got all the tread designs. They've got all the sizes for all your vehicles. Please stop in and see them today. If you're going over the river and through the woods to grandmother's house you go on Thanksgiving, make sure you've got the best of tires. And they've got all the tire chains, too. I really urge you to stop in and see them. I know today's going to be a big day. Tomorrow's going to be a big day. They need you to come on in. They'll take care of you with the best in brake service, front-end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries, and, as always, the best of tires at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Trent on Overland in Burley. Yep, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. I'm late, gotta go. Wheels, take it away. Oh, morning, and I hope you folks will bear with me on my raspy voice this morning with this cold, and I guess I'm a big wuss. I just don't like having colds. Good morning, and thank you to our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, serving you with the best of tires for wintertime driving. Stop in and see them today. And Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. And Greystone Crossing Independent Senior Living at 1221 21st Street in Hayburn. Seniors living the good life with friends. And right now, this good word for Western Way Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always the Georgia struggle. Western Way Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this free land. Western Way Services is lending a hand. Always our Georgia struggle. Western Way Services.
Oh my, well I'll tell you what, they've got dumpsters in various sizes over to Western Waste Services, and if you're cleaning out everything going into the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, etc., you better get a dumpster. And like I said, I better get a big one out the back window and just open the window, pitch and throw, fill it up, and when you're done filling it up, they'll come and get it. Yep, dumpsters from Western Waste Services, always at your disposal, 734-6969. You get a hold of those really good folks today. By the way, I also want to acknowledge our dear friends over at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. I didn't go down there yesterday. I didn't have them work on my leg. I stayed home with my cold, and I felt sorry for myself. Anyway, they help you get back to being you. If you're aching and paining, you be sure and give them a call. Make an appointment at 678-1191, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, with Nick Greenwell and all the very highly qualified physical therapists serving you at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, 678-1191. By the way, I know another business that absolutely wants to wish you and yours a very happy Thanksgiving, and that's, of course, Joel Heward, his family, and his staff at Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert. And when there's the passing of a loved one, They are always there to provide the families they serve with the best possible support and comfort, and always upholding the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. Please write the number down, 436-5636. That number again, 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary in Rupert, and Joel Heward also serving you and your family at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. Well, right now, I get a chance to visit with a very, very nice person and a good friend to this program, and we say good morning to Mr. Dan Kish with the American Energy Alliance. How are you?
Good, Zeb. How are you, sir? I'm sorry to hear you got a cold. It's going around.
Well, I'm sitting here. My wife came up with this concoction of a couple of teaspoons full of honey and very hot water, and then another substance that I'm not going to relate to you what it is on the radio, and it's working. It's helping.
Beautiful. Plus, it probably improves your mood.
To a point. I got to tell you something I wanted to talk to you about this morning. And you, of all people, are very qualified to address this issue. I was so mad when I looked at the television on Saturday afternoon and was trying to follow up on the college football scores. I'm a football nut. And then a story came across about how climate change protesters stopped the game between Harvard and Yale for over an hour, and they were out there protesting the use of fossil fuels. And Dan, this is the tip of the iceberg. With these loons getting away with this, we're going to see copycat issues in the future. Do you think I'm right or wrong?
Oh, yeah, Zeb. I mean, listen, we've, and I fault ourselves a little bit for this. I mean, what we've witnessed over the last generation or so is the proselytizing of the faith of global warming to our kids, and they believe it. I mean, Greta Thunberg comes over here, and she actually believes that the world's going to end. Many of these people believe this stuff. Doesn't matter that, they believe all the polar bears are going to die, even though the numbers of polar bears are breaking records. They believe that, the ocean's going to swallow their cities, even though there's no signs of that happening. They just believe this stuff because it's been, and so you've got these folks, and I'll tell you, it wasn't covered well in the press, but a lot of this was faculty at Harvard. This is a school where it costs about $75,000 a year to send your kid.
Yep.
And these parents send them there, and the faculty are all basically Marxists who don't believe in capitalism, and teach for an hour a day or something, and then spend the rest of their time as activists while some students do their work. And when you've got a coddled class like that, and a bunch of people who've been scared into these policies, you end up with that sort of nonsense.
Well, here's my take on this. Number one, at this football stadium, they did not have lights. They had certain parameters on time to get everything done before the darkness hours of early fall set in. Number two, they had a stadium filled with people for the rivalry between Harvard and Yale, and they had many family get-togethers and gatherings afterwards, and people had time commitments, etc. These punk kids, these worthless, not knowing anything punk kids, and many of the faculty disrupted other people's lives and spoiled the event of getting together for a rivalry football game between two Eastern schools, Harvard and Yale. And I think, and I said yesterday, the law enforcement and the security at that stadium, they should absolutely be sued for letting this happen on that football field.
Zeb, I agree with you. I mean, at some point, if the authorities, and we're not talking about, going overboard, but if the authorities don't We have Jane Fonda coming out here every week to Washington, D.C., flying probably by private jet, flying to Washington, D.C. to protest and get arrested about climate change. And all she does is pay $50 to the D.C. government, and they let her out of jail. Well, you know, at some point, lock her up. Put her behind bars for a while. Let her, you know, not disrupt the, everything that's going on. She's not demonstrating. I mean, she's getting arrested not for demonstrating. That's the right of every American. But because she's blocking traffic or disturbing the peace or something, you know. And as long as we continue to give these people slaps on the wrist for this stuff, most of these kids, they don't care. Their parents are just going to pay to bail them out. It's, you know, $50 or $100 or something like that. Doesn't hurt them. If they had to do 20 hours of community service, if they're so concerned about how about this? I'm the judge, you're the judge. My sentence would be 40 hours of cleaning up garbage along the highway. They're so concerned about the environment.
Yep.
Or maybe helping splitting some wood for some elderly man who heats his home with wood. What's wrong with that?
Absolutely. You know, I don't know if you know the man or not, but I consider him also a very good friend of mine, and that's Rick Manning. Do you know Rick Manning?
I don't.
With the Americans for Limited Government, he's the president. And Rick...
I've met Rick. I'm sorry. I do know him.
Well, Rick was on my program. He's on every Monday, and he had the most logical and the easiest to, I think, adhere to on this problem is if it's the home team and it's the home fans, it's an automatic forfeit and the other team wins.
Oh, I like that.
I do too, and I would adhere to it. But let me ask you this, because Dan...
I'd rather have them out there cleaning up garbage, Joe.
Oh, I do too. I like both ideas. Wheels, I need you to turn Mr. Kish up in my headsets. It's way too low. Please boost that up a little bit. Dan, when we're starting to talk about these climate change kooks, and a lot of them are not students, a lot of them are full-grown men and women that don't know Khmer from Sikkim, and don't they realize that without fossil fuels, there would not have been that football game. There would not be a basketball game. There would not be a theater performance. There would not be anything because people need to drive and go and be a part of the audience or the fans and buy tickets. If they can't get there, there would be none of those events. Their intelligence is really limited.
Well, yeah, to be honest with you, they don't care about football. I mean, they just soon ban football, too. It's too American, right? So these are the type of people that don't follow football anyway. They just went to cause trouble. They deliberately went to cause trouble, and the faculty doesn't care about it either. If they did care about football, they wouldn't do that because they'd realize what they're doing to all those people that you correctly say want to meet with their family and friends and old colleagues and that sort of thing to break things up. What you've really got here, I mean, let's just get down to basics here. What we've got here is an anti-capitalist. That's why on their signs it says "Eat the Rich," "Go Vegan," which is funny because I don't know how you can go vegan and eat the rich at the same time. And capitalism kills and things like that. When in reality, we know that socialism and communism kill and have largest killers in the 20th century, and probably will end up being in the 21st century as well. And so what we have here, basically, I mean, if they're anti-capitalist, they're basically Marxist. And you've got these Marxist professors who feed these impressionable kids heads full of garbage. And it's not just happening in the universities or the colleges. It's happening in elementary school, junior high school, we've got them cranking out people. Some of them don't even know that what they're preaching is that, but that's what it is. It's about how, we ought to just turn over everything to the government. They can make our decisions for us, and somehow that doesn't strike them as being totalitarian. That's somehow liberating. It's just the world is upside down. They're angry at the world for whatever reason. I don't know, perhaps they're angry at their parents or have some other psychological problem. And so, because energy is at the basis of amplifying human strength, because it is, by definition, the capacity to do work, they want to take that away, because the more people in misery, the more people they can convert to their sorry outlook on life, that they somehow deep in their hearts feel will lead to those people turning over all their liberties to these people so they can make decisions for them, because ultimately they want to control your life.
You know, what you just said was one of the finest dissertations of what's going on I've heard in a long time, and I'm going to take that off tape and I'm going to listen to it again. But, I was reading an article in Time magazine written by Rachel Greenspan, and I got to share one paragraph with you. Listen to this. Quote, as evidence grows that eating less meat can help curb the effects of climate change, more and more Americans are preparing meat-free holiday meals. You know something? Why don't they, the people that helped put this article in Time magazine, today drive to Denver, Colorado, and they are expected to have, before the end of today going into tomorrow, almost 4 feet of snow. And I would suggest that they sit around a little campfire and devour all the meat they can to help curb climate change.
They won't even be able to scratch through that much snow to get to the grass that they say they would rather eat than eat. Is that right? Does Denver get 4 feet of snow?
They said that they had, 30 some odd inches, and they're expecting another 16 to 17 inches. And I mean, we're talking not inches, but feet of snow. And the lunacy of what's going on. Dan, you know better than anybody else that a couple of days ago, over 72% of the United States was below freezing temperatures. And these lunatics tell us that we're burning up. I mean, there's no common sense.
No. Well, and then, amazingly enough, I mean, they have the audacity and the gall and the chutzpah to say, well, that's because of climate change. I mean, we get these polar vortexes, which are just nothing but storms from Canada, basically, right? And Alaska that come down, and they now call them polar vortexes. And when they do, they say that's because of climate change. And then, of course, when it's hot, they say it's climate change. And it rains, it's climate change. When it's dry, it's climate change. When it's wet, it's climate change. It's just everything fits their. That's why they love this, because nobody can quite explain it. There's a lot of scientists singing for their supper on this whole deal, getting checks from the government, and so they're willing to write anything. Tell me what to write, I'll write it.
Yeah,
and that's what we end up with, Zeb.
Absolutely. We've got, living right here less than 20 miles away from where I live, a former Idaho Supreme Court judge that keeps writing op-eds in our local newspapers saying, we're all going to burn up and die in 11 years. I mean, that's the kind of incompetency and idiocy that's going on with people that have not studied really what's going on.
Well, yeah, it also ought to raise questions about, during his tenure on the Supreme Court, what kind of decisions was he making using that sort of judgment, right?
Absolutely.
And ultimately, that's what we have here a lot. We've got a lot of people who are supposedly well-educated in these things who have no common sense at all, can't find their way to the bathroom, don't know how to screw a light bulb in.
I couldn't agree more. We've got a caller, Dan, and caller, you're on the air. Quickly, please.
Yes, good morning, Zeb. This is a golden opportunity for ranchers and people that have dairies. They'll make a fortune selling these crazy people, horse turds and cow turds to burn.
Well, that's an interesting concept. I'd like to see who the crew is that's going to package the said product.
You can set up roadside stands out there and make a fortune, Zeb.
I think it's a great idea. Back into the cave and burn buffalo dung. There we go. Thank you. Appreciate it, Tony. God bless you, man. Thanks.
Thanksgiving to you and the
All right. Thank you, sir. But we can laugh at that, but really that's not far-fetched. That's what these loons on the left expect us to do. They don't want us to go anywhere. They really tore apart the American public for wanting to go to Grandma's house for Thanksgiving. They don't want you flying anywhere. They don't want you driving anywhere. They don't want you spending any money on meat. I mean, what kind of a society are we living in here?
Well, Zeb, what's fascinating about this is, like Jane Fonda flying across the country on a weekly basis to get arrested and get her name in the paper, a lot of these people say one thing and do another. I mean, part of the reason they try to say we need to get people off the roads is so that, hey, you probably don't, your traffic probably isn't that bad around there, but try it around Boise.
Yeah.
And you ought to see it here in D.C. It may drive a man crazy, and because of the traffic. And so if everybody else, if you drive up the cost of transportation, drive up the cost of gasoline, drive up the cost of getting around, everybody else rides a bus, then I can just drive right down the roads just like, they used to in the old Soviet Union.
Absolutely.
When only the big shots in the government had cars. And that's kind of the way they are. You need to give up traveling to Grandma's house over the river and through what was it?
Over the river and through the woods to Grandmother's house we go.
There we go. And the reason they want that is they don't want to have to stand in line to get to the airplanes, and they don't want to. So if they could price everybody else out, and only the big shots with political connections or the fabulously wealthy, with their private jets and things can travel around, life would be great for them, miserable
Absolutely.
for the rest of us, but they don't really care about us.
That's right. That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, I am out of time with my dear friend Dan Kish, but next week on the program, Dan is going to give us his complete definition of chutzpah. I want to know what that means, but keep it within the FCC regulations.
Okay. Zeb, listen, I hope you and all of your listeners have a blessed Thanksgiving. We have a lot to give thanks for in this country that God gave us, and one of the things He gave us is a lot of energy, and you go right out there and use it, stay warm, be comfortable.
Absolutely. My dear friend, happy Thanksgiving to you and your family, and we'll look forward to next week. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you, sir.
All right, take care. Dan Kish with the American Energy Alliance. And like I said, I use Dan as an example of the great people that are on this program. And I've known Dan for a long, long time, and he's one of the best. Straight shooter. I really appreciate him. Let's see, what else have we got cooking here? Oh, Mad River Laser. Did you know that they're going to have a great big Black Friday sale? Oh, my. Their gift shop will feature markdowns on your favorite items, and they're going to have free gifts and samples with your purchases, and the design team is offering t-shirts 2 for $25, hoodies 2 for $50. You better get in there. Black Friday sale coming up at Mad River Laser, 502 East Street in Rupert. And they've been proudly voted the best unique gift shop for 3 years running. Mad River Laser on the square in Rupert. I mentioned this. I had a call during the news. People are interested, but I'll tell you what, that if you've heard all the buzz about CBDs, well, it's a hot topic. And if you're wondering what it is, what are CBDs and what they can do for you and me, they are a safe natural extract. The benefits are due to natural chemicals in the plant called cannabinoids. I hope I said that. Or cannabinoids. I better practice that word. Cannabinoids. I'm going to stick with that. And if you want more about these essential oils and how they can help you stay healthier through cold and flu season, I urge you to get a hold of those folks at CBD American Shaman at 1259 Overland in Burley, and they're open Monday through Friday, 10 to 5. Check it out for their Black Friday specials. Cannabinoids. I think that's it. I'll stand corrected if I'm wrong. Also, quickly, as messed up that word probably, I want to remind you about our friends at Let's Ride. Boy, look outside. Look outside. We had snow earlier this morning, and they're expecting a bunch more with a very, very big winter storm coming in, I guess. And Let's Ride has all the snowmobiles and the snow bikes, and I urge you to stop over at 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays 9 to 4. And if you don't have a snowmobile, you want a snowmobile, then get a snowmobile or a snow bike. They've got a whole showroom full of fun, along with all the accessories, and they've got a super service department to keep you running. At Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24, between Rupert and the World, where the fun is sold. I want to also remind you, over in that neck of the woods, don't forget our friends at Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Todd and the crew, the best of life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, all of this and more for you, your family, and your business. I urge you to call them on the landline, make an appointment at 436-4424. That number again, 436-4424, Cameron and Siemens Insurance in Rupert. Wishing you and your family a very happy Thanksgiving. We've literally made it an hour and a half on my very sore throat this morning, and I honestly think I can make it if I keep drinking that little concoction that my wife gave me with the honey and everything else. I appreciate that. Right now, we're going to talk to the CEO and the founder of Trail Life USA, and we say good morning and happy Thanksgiving to Mark Hancock. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. I'm doing great. Happy Thanksgiving to you too. But let me correct you. I'm not the founder. We don't point to a particular founder. We had about 300 volunteers across the country that came together to put this together. But thanks for the mention there.
I stand corrected, and I appreciate that, rectifying that verbiage. Thank you. But tell my audience, what is Trail Life USA?
Well, Trail Life USA is a Christ-centered, boy-focused Christian leadership, adventure, and character organization for boys. We serve boys from kindergarten all the way through high school with things that you would expect from an outdoor organization. It has troops across the country, outdoor adventure, camping, hiking, bouldering, all that, and church setting. We're in over 800 churches, about 30,000 members in all 50 states across the country.
You know, Mark, I want you to explain why this organization came into being. Explain that.
Well, our beginnings are around 2013 when the Boy Scouts of America started to show signs that they were going to be abandoning kind of their traditional stance around biblical family values that they had upheld for years. And we saw that they weren't going to be able to continue the same organization, that there would be a lot of churches that would not be able to charter Boy Scout troops because of their changing stance. And so we launched on January 1st, 2014 with 10,000 members on our first day, and have grown since then because there's a lot of folks out there who agree with us that a good, strong moral compass is important, particularly in this culture, but also that boys and girls are different. And that's a politically incorrect thing to say today, but we just believe that boys need a program that is aimed specifically at them. And we saw this happen in 2013 when Boy Scouts started to say some things that were unusual. We knew that they would be headed in a direction where eventually they would open up and allow girls in the organization also. We love girls. We think girls are amazing. But we think that both boys and girls need programs that is aimed at their differences. Any engaged parent or any teacher who's been around for any time knows that boys and girls are different, and they need environments that structure learning differently. They need different challenges, and they need different opportunities for success. So we are specifically boy-focused, and then we also retain the Christ-centered focus that Boy Scouts had started with, but that along the way they had lost.
Absolutely. And by the way, Mark, let me just say this very bluntly and emphatically. You do not, and I don't want you to be politically correct on this program.
Well, that's good to know, Zeb. I feel at home now.
Well, you are at home because I have maintained, and by the way, Engineer Wheels, turn this up a little bit in my headset. It's still way too low, please. And, Mark, one of my big worries with the Boy Scouts was the indoctrination and the fusion, like you said, of the girls being the same as the boys. There was, when I was growing up, the two factors of Girl Scouts of America, Boy Scouts of America, absolutely a distinct difference with organizations serving both genders. But now with this ridiculous multi-gendered society that we live in, it's absolutely jaded what the Boy Scouts' original premise was. I am so glad to hear that you, through Trail Life USA, are trying to keep things the way they should be.
Well, boyhood is under attack, and it's like boyhood is some sort of social disease that needs to be eradicated. You know, imagine being a young boy today. You're growing up in a culture that has a different definition of marriage than you and I were raised in. Gender fluidity is this new thing that they're being countered with. They're labeled as being toxic if they're masculine, and there's all these things that are coming against boys, and it's beginning to show it rear its ugly head in what's happened with boys. Boys are now twice as likely to be declared special education, 3 times more likely to be diagnosed ADHD. They are behind them in every single academic category. There are now fewer boys going to college than girls. There's now fewer getting bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, doctoral degrees. Boys are just falling behind, and no one seems to be paying attention. At Trail Life USA, we're specifically focused on them. Again, we love girls, but somebody's got to pay attention to what's going on with boys. They're just built different. If you go to our website right now, you can download for free the ebook, Let Boys Be Boys. And it talks about, and there gives 3 winning strategies for leaders of boys. And it talks about these kind of things, that there are, scientific evidence on this. Without a doubt, there's physical and psychological differences between boys and girls. Boys need risk and competition. In our society today, we've removed that from the schools. Everybody gets a trophy. We're afraid to let boys either win or lose, which is terrible for boys because that's what they're designed to do. And then also physical movement. We restrict physical movement in schools. We don't get them outside as much. And these things are starting to have an awful effect on boys.
Absolutely. Mark, we've got a caller with a question or a comment. Go ahead, caller, quickly. You're on the air, please.
Well, there was a time when we knew everything would be all right, but now, as soon as we can, we identify them. You're ADHD, so we're going to put you on Ritalin. I mean, it's literally an addictive drug. And the things that are being done, you can't even be a man, or you can't be a young man because you're afraid you're going to be accused of some sort of sexual harassment even at a young age in school. And so these young men don't even know what to do with themselves. And so if they do try to be themselves, then they're ashamed. I would have been labeled ADHD in school, and I've been successful at everything I've ever done. And tons of my business associates that I do work for were all C students and probably suffered a little bit of the same thing as I did. And so some of the most successful people in this country could have been labeled something. And it's such a shame that they have to put a label on us or anybody. It'll all work out if you leave them the hell alone. Bye.
Respond to the caller, if you would, please, Mark.
Well, it makes some excellent points. It seems like behaviors that just used to be boys are now labeled in bulleted list of diagnoses for ADHD. If you look at the list of how we decide if a boy has ADHD or not, it's things like running when he's not supposed to, or talking and not waiting for somebody else to finish before he talks. Well, that's me then. So now, I believe that there is a legitimate diagnosis for boys with ADHD, but it is now being applied so broadly that boys that are just boys are ADHD. What we know about boys is that they have to move to learn. And even Harvard psychiatrists will tell us that movement activates the brain, particularly in boys. And boys know intuitively that they've got to move in order to learn. So we sit in a classroom, tell them to sit still, be quiet, pay attention. Well, you might as well be asking them to do the impossible, because they can't do that and learn at the same time. And so we put them in school at a young age, tell them to sit still, be quiet, and they're not able to do that because they're not wired to do that, and they immediately get to think of themselves as inferior and as being behind. School is not a place for me. And that's showing. Schools are pretty much built for girls. And girls are doing an amazing job academically. We've done an incredible turnaround in our culture in science and technology and math and engineering skills for girls. They're excelling in all those things. But we've forgotten to pay attention to boys, and they're falling behind in the language and social skills and all these things because we have them in an environment where it's difficult for them to learn. So in Trail Life USA, we support movement for boys. Fidgeting is something that boys have to do in order to keep their brain active, or they're going to be punished in school. In Trail Life USA, we celebrate those kind of things. I tell leaders, take all the chairs out of the room, throw some Legos on the floor, give the boys something to fidget with, to do, to play with while you're teaching them a lesson, while you're teaching them about the outdoors or a particular value skill or something like that. And then get them outdoors and show them the real thing. We've got to do that with boys. But in the environment that we have in school, we're putting them at a severe disadvantage. And then when we take the outdoors away from them and we take the risk and competition away from them, we drive them indoors to video games, and then we criticize them for playing so many video games. So they can't seem to win no matter where they are. So Trail Life USA is for boys. We're boy-focused, male mentors, good men who are background checked, child safety, youth protection trained, personal references. They're leading these boys. Boys without dads are finding their place in Trail Life USA. Dads who are trying to figure out how they can get closer to their sons and how they can enjoy their time with their sons in the outdoors are loving Trail Life USA. And parents who know that boys need a special place to be a boy are just loving the activities of it. Providing in Trail Life.
Mark, everything you say, I totally 100% agree with, but I'm going to back up just a little bit. Where and how did this trend start with the lunacy of male toxicity? Oh, you're too masculine. Oh, you don't open the door for that woman. She can open the door for herself. Where did this idiocy start? Was it at the end of the 70s going into the 80s? Is it an organized plot to weaken and, pardon the expression, neuter our society? What is it?
Well, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I got to tell you, it has the feeling. It is so successful and so invasive against boys that if you wanted to organize it, you couldn't have done a better job. What has happened, and we really go back to the 90s when they recognized that girls were falling behind in science and technology and engineering and math. And so we developed programs in order to serve them, and it's been incredibly helpful for girls. They're excelling now in all those areas. But what we weren't paying attention to at that same time is that boys were struggling with language skills and social skills. But rather than help them with that, we turned our focus to girls, and we created an environment, a curriculum, a way of teaching, a style of teaching that appeals to girls, and girls are just excelling. If we put that same amount of energy into figuring out what it is that boys need in order to learn and succeed, we would see both genders just developing tremendously and doing really well. But we're just not. Along came this social change also that seems to label all men as toxic. We take a few mentally unstable men and we broad brush all men with this, with a sane brushstroke, and it just isn't right. And because of that, boys are paying a price. They don't have a place to learn in school. They don't have an opportunity to really excel physically. No matter where they go, they're finding competition for their space, and when they do decide to excel and work really hard at something, they're criticized for being overly aggressive.
Absolutely. We have another caller. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Good morning. I was just wondering what your guest feels about not only his subject, but the Common Core in our classes now. I'll hang up.
Respond to that caller, please, if you would, Mark.
Well, I wish I was better educated in the area of academic instruction in terms of curriculum. I'm more into looking at the type of environment we provide for boys. But I know that in my home state of Florida, they've now reversed that. They've seen what Common Core has done and how it has changed. Not for the good. It's changed for the worse. What the education that our kids are getting. And I know that other states are following suit and beginning to realize that was a horrible experiment that we visited upon young people. So I wish I could speak more to the academics of that, but I can tell you that our schools, our classrooms, our curriculum are really built primarily for girls.
And I don't want to sum up the whole program or the whole segment on these other issues. I want to get back to the basics of trail life. But, Mark, I've got to ask you, when they say toxic maleness or masculine toxicity, and then you listen to or watch, and I have to sometimes because of my job to pick out little tidbits that I want to talk about on my program, people on the far left like Joy Behar coming out on her program, The View, and saying, you don't need men in society. We don't need them at all. And the belittlement of men and boys in the school system growing up to be young men, it's like we're not wanted or not needed. And this is a issue that's got to be addressed and overcome.
Sure it does. And that's why we're seeing record suicide rates and drug abuse rates among young men. Listen, that there was a generation that was counted on to be strong, to be independent, and to be aggressive, that protected our freedoms. And then the next generation went to war at work, and they killed themselves going to work through high stress, through working really hard, through getting up early and working late. So men have always been called to make sacrifices. And first it was to war, then it was to die at their jobs. But they did that. They rallied themselves around that purpose of knowing that they were doing something for the good of people. They were fighting for freedom. They were fighting for the economic standing of their family. They were working hard in order to support their family. But those things have been taken away from men and young boys, and so they kind of lost their purpose. And in that, they're wandering, trying to find out who it is that they're supposed to be. And at every turn, it seems like they're being criticized for trying to do the right thing. I've got two young boys. I call them boys. They're 18 and 20, and they struggle with whether or not they should be opening a door for a woman. I mean, they should want to be purposeful and kind and chivalrous. But in this culture, they're bound to be criticized for doing that, as if they're calling somebody else weak when all they're trying to do is to respect them or and to acknowledge, to honor somebody else. It's a difficult culture for boys and young men to
absolutely
right now. But we will find our way. We'll find our purpose because that's what we do. And but this is a rough patch we're going through right now.
Absolutely. Now, your new book, Let Boys Be Boys. Quickly tell everyone where they can find this book.
Well, you can go to traillifeusa.com, traillifeusa.com, 2 L's in the middle, and there'll be a pop-up on that website that says download the book for free. And that ebook is free right now, Let Boys Be Boys. It's 3 winning strategies for leaders of boys. If you're a Sunday school teacher, if you work with young men, if you have a boy in your household, I recommend you read it. I think you can also get free right now 5 critical needs of boys, which breaks down using the language of trail, from Trail Life, and what boys need in order to succeed. So I encourage you to go there. Also, if people are interested in getting involved with Trail Life, there's a map there. You go to, I believe, Connect, and then to find a troop. There's a map in the United States. You can put in your zip code or your address or your city name, and it'll show you all the troops in your area that you can become a part of. And I would encourage men, even if you don't have sons, find a troop to get involved with. This next generation needs men to stand up for them. And there's a lot of fatherless boys we need a man to show up that truth and say, hey, I'm gonna help this young man and make sure he has what he needs to be successful.
All right, Mark. I want to say,
and it's a great place for you to serve and to find purpose. I spoke to men struggling to find their purpose. Great purpose in pouring in the next generation. They need us desperately. But if you've got a boy in your house, you want to be part of a Trail Life troop, find the troop there. If there's not one, start one. Information there on how you can start a troop with just four other adults. So, and again, those free downloads are on the website right now.
Absolutely. Mark, I want to say thank you. Thank you for coming on the program. Mark Hancock, the CEO of Trail Life USA. And we extend to you and yours a very happy Thanksgiving, and with the hopes that you'll come back and visit with us in the future. I appreciate your candid remarks on the program this morning.
Thank you, Zeb. I'd love to come back sometime, and happy Thanksgiving and Merry Christmas to you and yours.
Thank you so much. God bless. Thank you. Very, very nice man, and doing something that needs to be done. Letting boys be boys and then becoming men. Long overdue. Long overdue. Oh, my goodness. I know something else is long overdue, and it's the weather forecast. I've got to get hurrying. Weather brought to you by Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company, and they've been providing accounting services to the Mini-Cash area for well over 50 years with the best of professionalism for you, your family, and your business. The best of tax return preparation, tax planning, business consulting, financial statement preparation, retirement planning. The list goes on and on. They've got 2 locations to serve you, Burley and Rupert, the professionals. Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Few rays of sun for today, but snow is the theme of the week. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We are expecting partly sunny skies, at least for today. A little bit of a breeze, winds out of the west at about 10 miles an hour. Could have gusts as high as 22 miles an hour. We are expecting a high of 32. Tonight, snow showers more than likely after midnight. New snow accumulations of less than 1 inch possible, but it could be blowing out there as gusts as high as 25 miles an hour. We are expecting a low of 27. For tomorrow, snow likely mostly in the morning hours. Clouds are going to stick around. We are expecting a high of 36. New snow accumulations less than a half an inch possible. It is going to be breezy out there as well, and we are expecting a high of 36. For Wednesday night, 30% chance of snow showers after midnight, mostly cloudy skies with a low of 20. Then for Thanksgiving Day, looks like we have a chance of rain and or snow showers, expecting a high of 33. New snow accumulations of less than a half of an inch possible. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Range.
Lots of prognostication of angel dandruff falling out there. Thank you, Gina. And the weather brought to you by Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. These people really, really care and are serving you at 2 locations, 1710 Overland Avenue in Burley and 625th Street in Rupert. The very best of accounting services to you, Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Oh my, happy Thanksgiving from our friends at Magic Valley Irrigation at 44 East, 500 South of Burley. Hello, Jeff and the rest of the crew. They've been offering irrigation system service and repairs since 1978. They really care and are the best at what they do. Get a hold of them today. Magic Valley Irrigation, 678-3101. Also, our big thanks go out to Magic Valley Carpet at 613 D Street in Rupert. Oh, my goodness, they've got all your carpet needs, all your flooring needs. They really have a great, great selection for you at Magic Valley Carpet in Rupert, wishing you and yours a very happy Thanksgiving. And our old buddy, emphasis on old, Doug at Doug's Alternator and Starter Repair. I urge you to get a hold of them today at 635 21st Street in Hayburn. Doug really cares and does a tremendous job. And he also says, remember all the seniors and the senior centers. And everybody have a very happy Thanksgiving. Compliment of Doug's Alternator and Starter Repair. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
When you see a young boy, growing up and right out, he's not even a year old. And he's driving trucks and making noises, and he's all man. And then you've got people that want to meddle with this and say that, oh, you can't go and do manly things or boy things. That's whatever they want to label it. And the destruction, the mental destruction that is being dealt to young men and men across this nation is so harmful that when we need them to actually stand up and be men, they won't know what to do. Because the fathers can't be fathers, and apparently the young men are being, shamed. The other day I was at a convenience store, and I was looking in the donut rack, and I seen somebody standing behind me, and I thought, oh, forgive me. I says, you should have said something. I didn't know I was in your way. I'm sorry. I was trying to be polite. Common courtesy. She lit into me like there was no tomorrow. I mean, she was literally calling me names. She told me to leave the business. Well, I don't own it. I was just in there buying stuff, too. She was so, I don't know if she was mentally ill but she attacked me like there was no tomorrow, and I got the feeling, it all stems from this kind of thinking.
Well, all I'm going to say is this. I'm glad that my son is the great man that he is. I'm very proud to say that he's kind of in the John Wayne image, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud of the way he treats his wife. I'm proud of the way he's raising his kids. I'm proud of the way he stands up for others. And if that's wrong, then our whole society is really screwed up. And I'm not going to change in my attitude, and I really am so glad to hear someone like Mark Hancock get on my program this morning and talk about Trail Life USA that's going to make boys into men. And if somebody else doesn't like it, that's tough. Get out of the way. Here we come.
Well, the Boy Scouts has been ruined because we were tolerant. And we were accused of all kinds of things because we didn't want to tolerate what they wanted to do to it. And now it's ruined. It's ruined. It's ruined. And so it's a shame, terrible shame. It's been around forever. And, I have 5 sons. One is a stepson. And every one of them are as, manly and scrappy as they could be.
Good.
And, I'm so proud of them, I can't hardly believe it.
I'll tell you what, I'm gonna make a flag, I think. I'm gonna go after the Christmas holidays. I'm gonna go have a flag made that says, "Onward, male toxicity." I love it.
Well, I tell you what, we've got again, Idaho, maybe the last bastion of sanity. We can't let her slip.
There you go. I got to run to the news, Randy. Thank you, buddy.
Bye.
Don't forget our good buddy Rick at Mountain Transmissions at 504 East Main Street in Burley. I'm telling you what, they are the best. They are the professionals in fixing your transmissions, and they offer free estimates and free diagnosis. You better check it out. If you're having trouble going forward and you're actually trying to back up, you got a transmission problem, call Rick at Mountain Transmissions, 678-9110, and they wish to you a very happy Thanksgiving. We're going to take a break. Be back in 7. Don't go away. Oh, welcome back on a Tuesday, and of course, Zeb at the Ranch, and we're ready to rock and roll for this next hour, brought to you by our major sponsor, and that's, of course, your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers, and the best of tires to get you through all the winter weather yuck. Stop in and see them today. Along with that, we want to say a great big shout-out to Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. And Greystone Crossing, independent senior living at 1221 21st Street in Hayburn. Seniors living the good life with friends. Oh, my goodness. Is this for the Black Friday sale? Okay, if you'd check that out for me. Thank you very much, Dan. And right now, before we get started with our next guest, I also want to remind everybody about our friends, wishing you a very happy Thanksgiving. Butte Irrigation at 116 South, 600 West in Paul. And, of course, another location right there on Kimberly Road, north of Kimberly by Red Cap Corner. Butte Irrigation. More parts for brands and brands for any other dealer in Magic Valley. And believe me, they will get you wet. When you need parts or service, you be sure and think about Butte Irrigation. Wishing you a happy Thanksgiving. And Golden Valley Warehouse at 1000 South, 468 West of Burley. You know, the Adams family's had this business for a long, long time. The quality seed, barley, wheat, triticale, oats, alfalfa, you name it, they've got it. Friendly people at Golden Valley Warehouse. And last but not least, Vicky's Country Garden at 185 South, 600 South of Paul. And, I guarantee you that she absolutely can help you with your gift giving for Christmas with gift certificates as stocking stuffers. And you check it out today and call her at 431-5667. Vicky's Country Garden. Thank you very much, all of them, wishing you and yours a very happy Thanksgiving. Let's see what else have I got here real fast before we go to our guest. Oh, yes, I was going to mention again about Rick over at our friends at Mountain Transmissions. You know, there's nothing worse than to start the car, back it up, and you go forward, or vice versa, or maybe not go anywhere. Well, if you've got trouble with your transmission, don't forget Mountain Transmissions at 504 East Main Street in Burley. And for free estimates and free diagnosis, get a hold of Rick at Mountain Transmissions, 6789110, wishing you a very happy Thanksgiving. You know, normally on this time slot, we have Dr. History, but this morning we're going to do something a little bit different. Dr. History's out of town, and we welcome back an old friend, and I mean that. He is a very astute studier of history and what's been happening here in the Northwest way back into the 1800s up to the present, and we say good morning to Gary Shoresman. How are you?
Thank you. Just fine.
Well, with all that being said, all the accolades, and now you have been crowned Prince for a day, what are we going to talk about?
Well, you were right when you said old, because when I talked to you about coming on the program, I was 77. Now I'm 78.
Oh, my goodness. Happy, happy, happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Well, I don't want to compete at all with Dr. History, but I got some fun trivia stuff, if you don't mind bouncing around on different subjects and things that happened around here.
No, that's fine, Gary. Go ahead, please.
Okay, well, everybody talks about the winter of 48 and 49, and it really was February of 1949. And the paper, Minidoka County News, says, old brother Groundhog poked his pink nose out of a snowbank here Wednesday, took one glimpse of this shadow, and dived back in for 6 more weeks of winter.
Okay.
Some of the residents contend that he got discouraged of trying to get through the snow and didn't even have a chance to see if the sun was. Anyway, it was. Anyway, that was the winter when school was out for 2 weeks for the country kids for sure, but the snow was way over mailboxes, and everyone had to be careful because if you walked out and you could touch the power lines on some of those tall drifts running by your house. So that was very dangerous on some level. But I've got a few stories that happened, and this one was by Gene Snap, and he was at school in Albion in Idaho in 1949. And he says, I was at that time attending school at the Southern Idaho College of Education located in Albion. 2 nights that winter were the coldest I've experienced. The weather forecasters had predicted extremely cold nights about the middle of January, and they were right. I have forgotten the exact date, but one night the temperature plummeted to 42 degrees below zero.
Wow. The
following night it warmed up to minus 40 degrees zero. So it stayed right where it was. Changed 1 point. Those nights gave me an opportunity to check out what I thought was an Alaskan trapper's myth, which I read about. His story had indicated that he could tell when the thermometer reached minus 40. He spitting out the door of his cabin was by spitting out the door of his cabin. It was at least minus 40 degrees. The instant freezing effect sounded like a rifle shot. This seemed a little far-fetched to me, so I tried it, and I confirmed that it does exactly what he claimed that it would. So, Zeb, if it gets any colder, go sit outside and see if you can hear a rifle shot as it freezes.
I'm sure there's a lot of different analogies one could use or try, but I'm not in the market. Thank you.
The electric fence comes to mind, too. He said, I also remember that late in January, Albion was snowed in due to deep snow and drifted roads. The snow plows from Declo had tried to reach us, but had become stuck partway up the grade. The word was that the highway department was trying to get a bigger plow, but it may take several days to reach us. We then heard the announcement that a lady in town was about to give birth. This caused the school administration to offer to excuse anyone from classes if they would work on a shovel brigade to try to get the road open to the top of the grade and meet the snow plows. Most of the guys volunteered, and away we went to pursue an effort in futility. After the second day of shoveling, it was obvious that we were not going to make it in time. Late that afternoon, one of our basketball players got his leg broken when the car bringing the next shift of shovelers skidded and caught him between the bumpers of two cars. Murphy's Law, isn't it, Zeb?
Well, I can relate to everything you're saying in equation to a storm that was back in Wisconsin when I was a young man, and it was exactly like what you just said. One of our basketball players was out shoveling snow, and he got hit by a car.
Well, this could have been 49 because all the way back into Nebraska, everybody was snowed in, and Wyoming, the same as we got it here. Mm-hmm. It's just 1,000-year whatever. The emergency was resolved when someone in Burley fitted some skis on an airplane and landed in a field near Albion and transported her to the Burley Hospital.
Wow.
It turned out very successfully as the lady had twins. The shovelers soon recovered from the blisters and sore backs and returned to classes. Spring seemed awfully sweet that year.
Well, Gary, when you hear about those snows of being up to the power lines, now the only winter that I recall, and help me on this, that I recall was even fairly close to a tough winter like that was when we moved over here to Murtaugh in 92 and 93. Help me. Does that ring a bell with you or not?
Well, I wasn't living here, but it possibly could have been number 2.
Yeah.
So, but this one was totally outrageous. I mean, we had our cow corrals had railroad ties for posts,
mm-hmm.
and had lodgepole pine for the corral parts, but it snowed so much that the cows were standing on top of the snow,
wow.
and they were a foot over the top of those railroad ties.
Oh, my.
That's how deep it was out in the corral, so they could literally just walk out and go where they want if they didn't sink in.
Oh, my. Gary, we've got a caller with a comment, and Wheels, I need you to turn Gary up a little bit, please. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, my dad talked about just exactly what he just said. You couldn't keep the cattle in. They'd walk right over the fence. And he also talked about, well, they lived out Willow Creek, and he talked about how that they had milk cows, and they had to bring the milk in, and they could drive over the top of the fence posts.
Oh, my.
They had an old Army truck, 4-wheel drive, with a canvas top thing, and they'd bring the milk in when they'd run out of cans. And yeah, it was in the spring of 49, yeah.
Well, caller, I appreciate your call and kind of a walk down memory lane over severe winters. Thank you very much for your call this morning. God bless you.
You're welcome.
Hey, Gary, I've got to ask you, how long did this problem exist? I mean, were you looking at the snow? Did it melt during maybe a January thaw, or was it there till spring?
Out for several feet, and there were at least 20-foot high snow drifts between their home and
oh my,
and the mailbox. So what happened is the snowplow came through once, which only made that more impassable once it snowed shut again. So there was a lot of people having babies at that time, and out where in the Pioneer School District, 4 miles west of Rupert, where Pioneer School was, Grace and Rudy Bonademon were expecting their first baby. And Grace says she was 19 and her husband Rudy was 22 when their first child, a boy named Brent, arrived. They were married in 1948. They bought a little house in Paul and had it moved to the family farm. Rudy's parents, Max and Hermione Bonademon, lived in the main house on the farmstead just in front of the little home. Grace had been in the care of Dr. Daly in Rupert, and as it would happen, Grace was to give birth during one of the worst snowed-in times on Minidoka Project.
Wow.
There were at least 20-foot drifts, high drifts, snow between their home and the home of Rudy's parents. Rudy says he shoveled snow every day for a couple of months. Grace said it was good the folks had a telephone, so they were able to call Dr. Daly. He arrived. He determined he should make an attempt to reach his patient's home. He called the city office in Rupert and explained his problem. The city agreed to help and send a truck equipped with snowplow to clear the road for Dr. Daly's car. Dr. Daly says the trip from Rupert to Pioneer was somewhat slow but uneventful. However, as soon as the city truck left the main road, the first of a long series of complications arose. That's you don't want to turn off of a plowed road.
No.
The accumulation of snow on the county road was so heavily packed, the plow could not begin to break through its icy crust. After several unsuccessful attempts, the driver finally gave up. Fortunately, the Manning Ranch was nearby, and B. Manning readily volunteered his team of horses and sleigh. At the time, the fields were so deep with snow, and the sleigh skimmed over the tops of the fence posts quite nicely. Unfortunately, one of the runners caught on a fence, and the rudder was torn from the sleigh.
Oh, my. By the way, I got to ask you, by the time the doctor got there, weren't the kids like 20 years old?
Grace thought so. Anyway, Dr. Daly and Mr. Manning jockeyed and hoisted the sleigh until they were able to work the runner back into place, and they started off again. And when they finally reached the Bonademon home, the doctor jumped out of the sleigh and ran for the home. Unfortunately, the family dog took Dr. Daly for an unwelcome intruder. He bit right through his boot. He was able to wrestle away from the dog's angry hold and get into the house just 15 minutes before the baby was born. Rudy and his mother assisted Dr. Daly. Dr. Daly decided it would be the best to move the new mother and baby into town. Transporting the pair back to Rupert presented another problem. However, Dr. Daly could hardly take the woman and her infant in an open sleigh across the cold, snowy fields. The roads were so filled with snow and high drifts they were impassable. Rudy had a car, his first car, a 1941 Chevrolet. He was proud of that car, even though it was used. It had previously been owned by Victor Knopp, and Rudy bought it from Dean Schofield. Mr. Schofield had a car lot where the current-day Minico Auto Parts business is today. Rudy was able to get the car started, and with the help of the horses, pulled the car into position to be hooked to the sleigh. After the car was warmed up, Grace was wrapped in blankets in the back seat. Dr. Daly was in the front with the baby, and Rudy was at the steering wheel. Those horses and B. Manning had a real workout as they pulled the sleigh, the car in tow behind, following the tracks of the sleigh. Rudy was beside himself as he envisioned his car being torn to pieces as he bounced over fences and ditches. Rudy also remembers thinking he would have to spend all summer repairing the neighbors' fences. Grace had all she could do to hang on to the back seat. The road was open to Pioneer School, so that is where they were pulled. Grace remembers a few people had gathered at the school, and they all peered through the car windows at her laying there. Grace and the baby were transferred to Dr. Daly's car and transported to the Christensen Nursing Home on the corner of 10th and J in Rupert. And Grace adds, I remember many other babies born during this time. Was Mike Bott, Olivia Bott, Jerry Garner, Terry Garner, Kenny Shank, and Ron Phillips.
Wow.
No babies.
Oh, my good. Let me ask you this. For those that are listening out of the area and they don't know the distance involved, how many miles were you talking about from the home back to the hospital?
The home, the Pioneer School is 1 mile north of Rupert and 400 west.
Okay.
So then the Bonademons lived on 200 north, so just a mile north. So he pulled them a mile through the fields to get to the school area where Pioneer School was, and then the road was cleared down into Rupert.
Oh, my goodness. Now, what about telephones or any other methods of communication? Did a lot of people not have any way to communicate?
if the line was down, it was down.
Oh, boy.
Everyone had, everybody was pouring out milk. The milk bin couldn't come by to pick up milk, so you had to milk your cows twice a day, and a lot of that got pulled away. Howard Bruns talks about building a sled that he could pull his milk cans a mile over to Foodland off the highway there in Rupert, but the rest they had to dump, and nobody got through. The postmen couldn't come out even to deliver mail, and from time to time people with airplanes did fly in to those people that were much further out and were a great deal of emergencies. But this happened all over, not just Minidoka County, it was everywhere.
I can't imagine. One of the things that strikes me about those old days, in those old cold winters, we did not have in those days the advances and technology in clothing and footwear. It's amazing to me more people didn't get frostbite and lose their limbs.
Well, they were self-sufficient. These people, they didn't have telephones. We, in our family, we didn't get a phone until 1956. But you've got to remember, these people had harvested alfalfa and grain and had them in their haystacks and had them in their granaries. They milked cows, so they had cream and milk. They had chickens and they had saved the grain to feed the chickens and feed the hogs, whatever they had, but they'd also butchered in the fall. So the women canned all summer long or all fall long, so in their cellars, they had all kinds of fruits and vegetables, and in the smokehouses, there were hams and sausages and things hanging like that, and plus they also had flour, which they could grind themselves for bread. So they were self-sufficient, and plus most of those people did not have electricity. They still had kerosene and milked cows by hand.
Gary, are there a lot of pictures that were accumulated for kind of a historical recount of what happened? Do you have different pictures and albums of that time?
Oh, yeah, I do. I've got stories, and I've also got pictures. I have pictures of our own farm with the cows standing up on top of the corral fence.
Oh, my goodness.
And the sheep all kind of huddled around into one spot, and the drifts way over their backs around the side. And I do remember having to go out as a kid, and we went out every 2 hours to check the lambs to see if they'd land, because if you didn't catch them right away, they froze.
Oh, my goodness.
So you had to, it was a 2-hour watch for all of us. We were going to school anyway, but that's how I learned to play pinochle.
Well, I was going to ask you one other question, and I'm down to the last 3 minutes in our segment. What about men, or for that matter, women, anybody that had a job in town? I mean, was their employment basically in jeopardy, or what happened there?
Well, for those that could go, the Spivak girls, they worked at the bank where U.S. Bank is now, but they stayed at the Caledonian Hotel and kept the bank open, or what some of those the grocery stores right around the square would have been open for anybody that could get there. But see, a lot of this out in the country, these people were self-sufficient, and fortunately I found no stories about babies dying out in the country. So as you see, Dr. Daly took it, that was more than a house call that he made.
Wow. I mean, you actually saw it and lived it, and you remember a lot of this. And the cold winters, and what was the year again?
It happened in February of 1949.
Wow.
It was the winter of 48-49.
What about all the school kids? I mean, did they stay in town also?
No, no, nobody got stranded. Everybody was where they lived.
I see.
But the school kids might have gone a week or so earlier than the country kids until they could get out.
I see.
But when you think about the snow being packed almost to the top of some of these power lines, that didn't just melt overnight.
No, and that's the next thing I was going to ask you quickly. What about the spring thaw? That must have been lakes everywhere.
As I recall, I did not hear anyone, including my father, talk about having any extraordinary flooding, because apparently it thawed slowly and dissipated.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, I hope sometime when you come by the house you'll bring those pictures. I would love to see those. And I absolutely thank you, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for filling in for us this morning. You are always up to speed on what's happened in the past with a lot of great history stories. Gary Shoresman, God bless you, and happy Thanksgiving and happy birthday.
Amen and hallelujah. Have I got another minute?
1 minute, and that's all I got, Gary. 1 minute.
A Teamster's prayer.
Okay.
A man given a poem about his horses. Deep in the heart of an unknown country, farther than the natural eye may ever see, lies the spirits of faithful Teamsters, now resting in sweet eternity. And as they one by one pass away, younger comrades would often hear them say, "Lead out my brave workhorses, and when I'm gone, please treat them kind, and don't forget to play my favorite tunes for the ones I'm leaving behind." And Fred W. Spears wrote that.
Oh, my goodness. Gary, outstanding. I really appreciate you coming on the program. Please stop in and see us. We'd love to have you visit. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Give my best to Deanne.
I will. Gary Shoresman, a great friend of this program, and I appreciate all of his efforts. Oh, quickly, I've got to tell you about a great big sale. The biggest sale of the year is going to be going on at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley. Oh, my goodness. Listen to this. 40 to 50% off on all furniture, and buy one, get one free recliners. Are you kidding me? And I'll tell you what, they've got all the carpet and all the floor coverings, all the bedroom sets. Oh, what a sale. What a sale at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. 459 Overland in Burley. Great staff serving you. Jeff and the rest of the crew with this kind of a jam up, big up, and absolutely phenomenal sale at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. I want to remind you, too, I absolutely I'm enthused about this, because you can help yourself, like I'm helping myself, build a financial security and future through silver. Now, I'll tell you what, right here locally, we've got some people that can give you all the information on how you can create your own security bank through silver purchases, and those silver purchases come right to your home. It's a saving opportunity for you and a valued treasure for your loved ones. I want you to find out more about investing in financial security through silver. I want you to contact Lon Hardy at 312-8699 or Sharon Wilmot at 430-3259. Mention my name, and they'll sure take the time to visit with you and talk about 7K metals. Like I said, with silver purchases to help you build your financial security and future. You be sure and get a hold of them today. Right now, we're going to send this back over to our main studios, and my buddy Wheels will be back in about 3 minutes.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Oh, we've made it 2.5 hours on our old raspy throat this morning, and thank you for your patience out there in Radio Land. Right now, before we go to our guest, I want to remind you about our friends at Patterson's Electronics, 421 East Main in Burley. Curtis and Lorena and the rest of the staff, wow, what a great place to do all your Christmas shopping. Right there, they've got all the video surveillance cameras, home theater systems, car stereos, speakers, complete sound systems, all your television. And when you make a purchase at Patterson's, go up to the counter and tell them what your favorite charity is. Why? Well, at the end of this month, they're going to take the top 2 mentioned charities, and Patterson's is going to give $500 to each of the top 2 charities. Wow! Stop in and see some really nice people at Patterson's Electronics, 421 East Main in Burley. And, of course, they're open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 6. Want to also urge you, seniors, if you're listening out in the audience, you've heard me on this program for a long time talk about Greystone Crossing Independent Senior Living on El Fresco Road. This is a beautiful place. This is a home, absolutely a 12-bedroom home for you to enjoy life with your friends right there at Greystone Crossing. I urge you to call the number 650-4979 and talk to them. Kelly and Matt Wiggins, really nice people, and they'll make arrangements for your appointment to come by and see all the facilities where they furnish 3 meals a day, housekeeping, snacks, local transportation. Wow. Get a hold of them right now today. 650-4979. Greystone Crossing, Independent Senior Living on Alfresco Road in Hayburn, I bit my tongue. And be sure and give them a call today. Really nice people. Well, right now let's go to the phone line, and I really am excited to have this person on my program this morning. He is the CEO of Minnow, and we'll find out more about what that is. And we say good morning to Eric Goss. Eric, how are you?
Deb, how are you doing today?
I am great, and I thank you for coming on our program this morning, because I think you and I have the same opinion about what's going on in this world. First of all, let's start this thing off about our kids. Today's generation of kids just don't, I think, in my opinion, have a very good quality of entertainment to bide their time. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, Deb, I would agree with that. I mean, we've talked to hundreds of people about their concerns about their children and their entertainment options, and over again, parents communicate to us that they challenge, because a lot of the entertainment options that they have available today compromise their values and cause them to actually feel like, they want to pull their kids away from that media. At the same time, they don't want to deprive their children of media and technology, because they know understanding that and being able to manage that as an adult is going to be an important part of their future. And so that really led us to launch Minnow, to be able to provide a platform that could be compromise-free for parents, where they know that the programming is going to reflect the values, the things that they care most about, and that we actually will serve as a partner for parents versus, platforms out there where, in many instances, your children are getting exposed to messages that, you don't want them to hear, or you don't want them to hear right now. And the challenge is you've got very little control over when that happens, the way those major platforms are set up.
Eric, I'm going to say this, and on my program, I don't care about, nor do I want to be politically correct. I think it's garbage. The Disney Corporation, from when I was growing up, with the Fess Parkers playing Davy Crockett and all the different Sunday evening programs that were absolutely fit and suitable for the entire family, what happened?
Yeah, I think it's a really, really tough situation. I mean, I think, if you think about your listeners there in Idaho, and I think, our headquarters is in Nashville, Tennessee, a lot of the values and concerns that many American families have are just not reflected by the people leading those companies today. And so if you go to Disney and you look at the executive team, a lot of the folks there aren't necessarily going to be sympathetic or care about the faith and values of a lot of Americans. We say a Super Bowl happens every Sunday. More than 1 million Americans go to church every week, and yet there's a sense that the major media platforms don't really want to acknowledge or basically communicate any appreciation for the values and the concerns of those folks.
What is this? Explain this to me a little bit about Disney and they're warning parents about outdated cultural depictions in classic Disney content. What are they trying to apologize for?
Yeah, I think that's tough, Zeb. It's hard for me to be able to speak on behalf of Disney, because they're such a huge company and they've got tons of people providing feedback. I mean, I think part of the challenge is, obviously when a lot of those shows were created, the values in the United States have changed quite a bit. And while I don't think the creators who created those shows intended anything negative in the messages or in the characters that are depicted, today there's, what I consider kind of a point of view, or and many people would say an agenda that wants to put meaning in those that a lot of people would actually view as derogatory or offensive. And I think it's tough, because when you think about that programming, there may be some themes and some things that have changed culturally that need to be sort of taken in consideration with the new content. At the same time, when you think about, trigger warnings or those type of messages, the key question is, who's most important and what are they trying to accomplish from that and from a prioritization standpoint.
Well,
and again, when we think about Minnow and the platform we've built, we really feel like, we want to honor the parents who really value faith and value traditional values. And a lot of times on platforms like Disney, those perspectives can be discounted.
Our culture is so jaded, and what was right is now wrong, what is black is now white, and vice versa. And it's refreshing to me to hear someone like you, the CEO of Minnow. What are you trying to do? I mean, what are you trying to accomplish, and how successful are you in your venture of putting forth family values?
Yeah, so I think, we've just launched 2 weeks ago, but we've been testing for a number of months, and we've seen great feedback. So, we've seen, tens of thousands of subscribers join the platform, and we actually have subscribers in over 40 countries today. And so it gives you a sense of the demand and the sense of need from parents. I think when we look at building out an entertainment platform, so often a lot of the platforms today are built out just for the purpose of serving as a distraction and just, entertainment that can be somewhat brainless. And I think when we built Minnow, we've curated on the platform we've watched. Our staff has watched it to make sure that it reflects the concerns of the parents that subscribe to our platform. And then, we look at this as not just providing sort of a neutral experience. As a mom and as a dad, I'm a dad of 3 daughters, there's a sense of you don't want to just sort of get by. You actually in your job as a parent, you want to feel good about it and feel like, I'm actually winning today. I had a winnable moment with my children. And we really look at the platform Minnow set up to foster conversations between parents and kids. So often platforms are actually set up to separate kids and parents. And so we want to foster, bringing kids and parents together and then really helping parents be able to have the conversations that they want to have with their kids. And we look at that sort of on 3 different areas. One is, what can we do to provide a streaming platform to serve families? The second is we built out a children's publishing unit. We just released a book called The Laugh and Learn Bible for Kids, which is a children's by the creator of VeggieTales, Phil Vischer, which, a lot of parents really want to make sure that their children understand values. And so we created that book to make it really simple for parents to get exposed to the Bible and help their children get exposed to those biblical values. And then the third is we've built out a website, we built our website specifically for parents to be able to give them resources that they need to kind of navigate this very complex world culturally, because so many parents have come to us and said, hey, my children are getting bullied. They're getting criticized in 2nd grade for having traditional values. What do I do? And so we wanted to be able to provide those resources for those parents to have winning moments with their kids and to help them succeed in sort of holding to the values that they care so deeply about.
Eric, I've got to ask you this, and just forget all about you being the CEO of Minnow, and I'm going to forget all about me owning and hosting this talk show. It's just a couple of old boys talking. Can we turn this bus around before it goes over a cliff in trying to keep traditional values, or is it too late?
I don't think it's too late. If you look at a lot of the research and sort of the survey data, a lot of people like to think that traditional values or people who are going to church is actually in decline. And as a percentage of the United States, the population growth is growing. As a percentage, it's falling, but on an absolute value standpoint, it's not. And so I think part of the challenge is the narratives that we expose ourselves to, and the narrative sometimes can cause us to feel down when the truth on the ground is a lot different. I have the opportunity to be in a lot of communities across the United States, and I see people doing amazing things that are really driven by the values that they care most about. And so I'm optimistic. I feel like things can change, but in one sense, we started Minnow because we don't want to just complain about the problem. We want to do something about it. And so I think there are a lot of folks out there that see change. Granted, I don't think it's going to be easy, but I think if we lean into it and really look at letting our values guide, things can change.
You know, I appreciate everything you're saying, and I hope and pray, underline the word pray, that it comes to fruition. But what about our education in this United States? I mean, public education and these kids, the minute they get off the school bus or walk to school, the school owns their minds, and the leftist philosophy and the lack of moral principles. How are we going to stop that?
Yeah, I think those things are those are really, really tough issues. And granted, I'm no expert on education, but I interact with parents every day, and what's clear to me from a parent standpoint is they want to be able to have voice and they want to have choice in what goes on in the life of their child. And I think we all believe that parents should be the expert in regards to raising their children. And oftentimes you can feel infringed upon by the public schools or by agendas that are in the schools. And so, you know, what we're trying to do is empower parents to be able to have those conversations and to be able to navigate that. But I do think that that's difficult. And again, it depends on where you live. I lived in Seattle, which was a very, very different environment than where I live now in Nashville. And I've seen kind of both sides of that. And I think it can be really, really tough. A lot of parents can feel disempowered. And, you know, and I think as a parent, that's one of the worst feelings that you can have.
Well, tell my audience how they can find out more about Minnow. Give us the complete spiel, if you will.
No, thanks, Zeb. Yeah, so if parents would like to check us out or grandparents, they can go to gominnow.com. That's GOMINNO.com. And we offer a 1-week free trial. And if you would like to experience Minnow on your mobile device, you can find us under Minnow Kids in the Apple Store, at the Google Play Store, or on Amazon or Roku. And then if you're interested in the Laugh and Learn Bible for Kids that I just mentioned, you can find us on Go Minnow, on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or the bookseller of your choice.
You know, Eric, I wish you the best of opportunities to make this grow and flourish. We need more people like you and what you're doing. Eric Goss, CEO of Minnow, and thank you. Thank you for taking the time to come on my talk show this morning. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Ed. Wish you and your listeners a happy Thanksgiving.
And the same right back at you, sir. Thank you very, very much. Eric Goss, and there's a man that's getting involved in doing the right thing and helping parents and our kids with a great value system, and I appreciate him being on the program. Oh, boy, are you hungry? I am. Through this cold, you know, I absolutely am starving, and I know where I'd like to be right now. You know where that is? It's over at Edith's Cafe. They're open Tuesdays through Thursday, 11 to 8, Fridays and Saturdays, 11 to 9. All the top sandwiches, all the delicious menu choices. And I know I'm going to revert back to this, but they've got, as part of their dessert menu, they've got peach cobbler a la mode. I absolutely love peach cobbler. And what's going on Tuesdays? Today, all day on Tuesdays, they've got barbecued pulled pork sandwiches. Ooh, baby, they are good. You better get over and enjoy the great food and the super service at Edith's Cafe. Where are they located? 144 East Highway 81 in Burley, right across from the golf course. I urge you to stop over there and enjoy a great meal at Edith's. Also, we better get to the weather forecast. And my dear buddy Wheels is sitting over there with his hand on the button. Our weather brought to you by Scaro's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. By the way, after the weather, we'd like to have some more calls. Give me a jingle. I just about choked on my cough drop, excuse me. Scaro's Meats, Don Scaro and the crew at 331 North Road, Jerome. Telephone number to call, 324-7657. Or you can go to their website, scarosmeats.com. We had our good old buddy Don on the program with us last week on Thursday, I think it was, and talking about turkeys. Now, they've got turkeys, but they've got a limited supply for Thanksgiving, and I urge you to call today and order yours at 324-7657. Great meats, delicious meats from Scaro's Meats over in Jerome. Caller, I'll be right with you. Don't go away. Here, first of all, is Gina with the forecast.
Few rays of sun for today, but snow is the theme of the week. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We are expecting partly sunny skies, at least for today. A little bit of a breeze, winds out of the west at about 10 miles an hour. Could have gusts as high as 22 miles an hour. We are expecting a high of 32. Tonight, snow showers more than likely after midnight. New snow accumulations of less than 1 inch possible, but it could be blowing out there as gusts as high as 25 miles an hour. We are expecting a low of 27. For tomorrow, snow likely mostly in the morning hours. Clouds are going to stick around. We are expecting a high of 36. New snow accumulations less than a half an inch possible. It is going to be breezy out there as well, and we are expecting a high of 36. For Wednesday night, 30% chance of snow showers after midnight, mostly cloudy skies with a low of 20. Then for Thanksgiving Day, looks like we have a chance of rain and or snow showers, expecting a high of 33. New snow accumulations of less than a half of an inch possible. That's what the weather forecast for.
Oh, thank you, Gina. And, of course, brought to you by Scaro's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Please, please, please get over there. And all your delicious meats for the holiday season are at Scaro's Meats. And it's true. They are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Caller, good morning, and thank you for your call. You're on the air.
Yeah, Zeb, it's a good thing. We're going to get some snow in the mountains, and we know that that's going to fill our reservoirs and keep our ag community flourishing. And, we need to give these guys credit throughout this valley, whether or not you're fertilizer companies, trucking companies, dairymen, ranchers, farmers, what these men do and keep these things running so they hire guys like me. And you use them for advertising, and, thank God. Can you imagine a Democrat meddling with the way these men do business? You say to yourself, I just left the dairy, and you know how it's a little soupy there,
Uh-huh.
I didn't have to work in it today. But, that's where we need to put AOC and Obama and all of them. They say, hey, listen, we're going to milk some cows today, and this is what you got to do to go get them. I know I've said it in the past, but every time I see it, I think that would be a humbling experience. But every day there are people out there doing it already.
It's really the truth, too. If people really had to follow from the field to the plate, how their produce is grown, how the livestock is raised, and all the way to the market system and into the grocery stores and then eventually into their houses, and they had to do the chores that are involved in each step of the putting the food forth on the table, maybe they would shut up and put up a little bit more respect for the American farmer and rancher.
Well, this thing against beef, it's such an absolute travesty, and how healthy it is for you, and it's unbelievable. It's like having a tofu turkey, huh?
Not in this house.
What?
I said, not in this house. I guarantee you that I know a little bit about those tofu turkeys, and some of the people, I will not taste it. I will not taste it because I've had friends of mine say they took a fork and they tried a forkful and ran out of the room to find the closest exit and spit it in the lawn.
Oh, yeah, it's an absolute joke, and there's you remember how butter was bad for you, but now it's good?
Yeah.
And the margarine is like one molecule from plastic, and it is. And so, it's just unbelievable. God made it natural. We need to eat it that way. And, you're right. If some of these people had to go from the farm to the plate, they'd have a better understanding of what goes on and the appreciation of it. And I had a buddy of mine that went to Chicago, and I said, well, how'd you get out of there without getting shot? He said, well, I went to the good part of town. But But he says, we couldn't live there. He's back safe, thank God.
Well, while you were talking about this from the farm to the plate, I was sitting here thinking about some of the Democrats that might run or are already trying to run for the presidency. And it's hard for me to imagine that if she decides to run, Michelle Obama in a pair of knee-high rubber boots, all wrapped up for the cold weather, and trudging through some soggy recycled alfalfa to bring the cows in the barn. I can't see it, my friend.
Well, when you have these free stalls, it's soup. And so it's there's just no way you can get free of it before you leave the job site. I'm a garage door contractor, so if we have to work on it, we have to go over as soon as we're done and wash all of our high pressure, wash all of our equipment and our trucks and everything off, because you can't leave it on there.
Absolutely.
You sure can't go home that way. And so whatever. But you see, when you're out here where the rubber meets the road, you realize what matters. And see, that's the problem. So many people and so many of our children don't understand the thing about the reality of life.
I agree with you, and Randy, I got to run, but God bless you, man. Stay out of the soup. Have a good day. Thank you. All right.
I only do it. It's a good thing I don't have to do a lot of them, because
no. All right, thank you. Want to remind you as we wrap things up for today, be ready for whatever the weather throws at you. And it looks like the weather might throw some angel dandruff at us over the next couple of days. And, of course, in the form of snow. Be ready with the best of tires, the best of all the tread designs, the best of all the sizes for all your vehicles at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. That's right, they've got all the tires for your safe wintertime driving. I urge you to stop in and see them today. And they've got all your tire chains, too. Along with this, the best in brake service, front-end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries, but above all, that key word of service. They really take care of you. Absolutely. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike in Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Trent on Overland in Burley. You better believe it. The best. Not brag, that's a fact. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. We got to run the way things were, the way things ought to be, and we always wrap up the program by saying, in God we trust. We'll be here tomorrow morning at 8:06. Have a wonderful day.